Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. If it's Thursday, that can mean only one thing. 24/7 Sports Director of Recruiting, Steve Wiltfong, is here. Steve, how goes it?
Good morning, Daniel. Beautiful day in Indianapolis, sending this beautiful weather down I-70 through Dayton all the way to Columbus.
Going to be a very temperate weekend here in Ohio. You know, it will be a great thing, college football, but I digress. Dave Biddle broke the story, Steve. This is not necessarily recruiting, but it is the story of the day. Big Ten presidents possibly reconvening on Friday, maybe Saturday, to hold another vote about the football season. They allegedly voted once before. It was 11-3 in favor of postponement. Nebraska, Iowa, and the Ohio State University voted correctly. What's your vibe on this whole thing, kind of being outside the realm and the fact that you're not a team guy or a recruiting guy, but you are in the Midwest? Do you get the sense there's some hope building? What's the vibe?
A Labor Day weekend vote, huh? I mean, I hope they play. I think there's a lot of people that want to play and find a way to get this done. So, we'll see what happens.
Have you been able to attend any football games in the state of Indiana?
Yeah, I've been to 3 high school football games already, including seeing Cincinnati St. Xavier come across the border and take on Brownsburg on Saturday. I saw an Ohio State target in week 1, top 247 defensive tackle Caden Curry, who had a fantastic game, by the way. And he's extremely high on the Buckeyes from Center Grove High, same high school as Joel Hale. Curry blocked the punt, returned it for a touchdown to put his team on the board. The first points of the season maybe in Indiana because they forced a 3 and out, and then Curry blocked the punt and then picked it up himself and ran it in to get the scoring ready. And then I saw another game last Friday, and I'm going to a game this Friday. So we're playing high school football here in the Hoosier State. Notre Dame's playing college football in the Hoosier State. Indiana and Purdue obviously are not playing football in the Hoosier State as things stand now, but we'll see what this vote says. And they're obviously playing high school football in the Buckeye State. But the Buckeyes aren't playing, and neither is Miami, Ohio, Bowling Green, and Kent State, and all the rest of them.
I have attended 2 junior high football games. My son has played. Everything's fine. This is the chance for a mulligan of epic proportions. Please, Big Ten presidents, if you are listening, don't blank this up. We move on. Ohio State is locked in a battle for the #1 recruiting class with the Fighting Nick Sabans. Tunmisi Adelaide's flip to Bama briefly gave Alabama the lead. The ensuing commitment of Georgia tight end Bennett Christian to Ohio State recently pushed them back over the top. We know that Ohio State is still recruiting 3 big-time 5-stars, Emeka Egbuka and JT Tuimoloau from the state of Washington, and Tristan Lee from Virginia. I think they're likely to get the first 2, and that would technically secure it. But who should Ohio State be watching on the Alabama side to know if Bama's got a real shot to beat them?
For Alabama, obviously they're near the top of the list for the #1 cornerback in the country, JaQuincy McKinstry, as they battle Auburn and LSU. Auburn is the program trending on the crystal ball, but we've seen Alabama targets trend elsewhere, only for Alabama to ultimately land them. Tunmisi Adelaide, they're in the mix for, but a lot of buzz is with Florida right now. Brian Thomas Jr. is a receiver in the top 100. They're battling LSU for. And then Xavier Sori and Terrion Arnold are a couple top 247 recruits that are also high on Georgia and Florida. Shamar Turner is a coveted defensive lineman from the state of Texas that's looking at Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and then the 2 in-state programs, Texas and Texas A&M. So I think that Alabama's got several blue chippers still in play to make their push. Kirby Smart in Georgia, they finished #1 2 of the last 3 years. They've been in the top 3 in each of the last 4 cycles. They're trending for Corey Foreman, the #1 player in the country. They got a great shot at Amarius Mims, the #6 player in the country, as they battle Tennessee. Mason Smith, the #3 defensive tackle, another 5-star. Georgia LSU battle there. Smail Munden is a 5-star linebacker that's also high on Georgia. LSU's in on a lot of these remaining 5-stars as well. Corey Foreman being one of them, of course. Tristan Lee, who Ohio State's in the mix for. LSU is certainly near the top for him, the number 11 overall player. Mason Smith again, JaQuincy McKinstry, Sage Ryan, the number 1 safety, who's a 5-star. Those are all guys LSU's in the mix for. So this battle for number 1 is not decided. Savion Byrd is looking at Oklahoma and LSU, and Oklahoma still is mathematically alive for this opportunity to finish number 1 too. So, but if the Buckeyes can land JT and Emeka, I think they'll still be tough to beat. Last time I finagled with the class calculator.
Yeah, Andrew Ivins has the most recent story you guys do about the fight for number 1. You can go check that out. It's on the front page now. But he says if Ohio State gets Emeka and JT, it will give them enough points that they would have won 2020. We will see if it holds for 2021. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and get into some more Cruton. Bucknutters at noon Eastern today. Bill Kurlick, Alan True, and Brandon Huffman will be holding a recruiting chat here on the site. You can go there now and ask questions. There's an obvious post on the front page where you can get to, or you can just come and enjoy. Brandon Huffman, of course, is the West Coast analyst for 24/7 Sports, so you can expect Emeka and JT to be hot topics on there. There were some questions submitted on here. One of the questions asked, we're going to cheat and answer here. It was submitted for Alan True by J Wheat 443. Alan, in a hypothetical world where Ohio State holds off taking commitment from either Evan Pryor or Travion Henderson, do you think they would have been able to win a battle for Michigan's Donovan Edwards as their second back?
I don't know if he would have been the second running back in the class, but I think that Ohio State had a great shot to make him the first running back in the class if his timetable would have been conducive to that. The Buckeyes certainly led for Donovan Edwards early in his recruitment, had a great relationship with Tony Alford and head coach Ryan Day, and certainly believed in the offense and his fit and the production at the position and the opportunity to come in and make an early impact on the program. Ohio State was clearly number 1, but they were number 1 for a couple other blue chip running backs as well, and Travion Henderson and Evan Pryor, and they have those 2 in the fold. And with that, Donovan Edwards is looking at Michigan and Oklahoma and Georgia and Michigan State and Notre Dame and some others. And I think that Michigan is the one to beat. Michigan's done a really nice job recruiting that position the last few cycles as well. Blake Corum is a 4.4 kid from Baltimore St. Francis that I thought was their best player last year, a tough, hard-nosed kid coming in after Zach Charbonnet, who's had trouble staying healthy, but was a coveted recruit out of California the cycle before. And then you add Donovan Edwards. Michigan's running back room goes from just being a solid one over the last decade to maybe being one of the better ones in the Big Ten if they can secure Donovan Edwards.
For those who remember, when we talked about Donovan Edwards, to me, he is Darren McFadden reincarnated and a spectacular running back. A shame they couldn't fit him in the class, but I think we'll be just fine with Travion Henderson and Evan Pryor. So what is up for Steve Wiltfong this weekend when it comes to football?
So I'm going to the Elkhart Central Columbus East game this weekend. I'm going to see Penn State commit Rodney McGraw. I'm going to see Buff next weekend, most likely. Joe Strickland's a top 247 defensive lineman from Indianapolis. Going to see Carmel Lawrence North later in the month, which includes 4-star quarterback Donovan McCulley and a 4-star 2021 receiver Omar Cooper. Cathedral versus Cincinnati LaSalle on September 25th. The Cincinnati LaSalle is going to come to Indianapolis, and so they got a bunch of talented young players. So my month is already scheduled for September, and we're going to be playing some ball here.
Let's hope Steve is busy on October 10th watching Big Ten football. Have a good one, Bucknutters.
Take care, y'all. See you on the front row.